It's the Real Estate Podcast, brought to you by ANZ Home Loans for financial well-beings.
Hey, it's your Real Estate Breakfast, back for the weekend as we break down for you the Australian property market. Got another busy Saturday morning property show coming up with Australia's independent voice on all things real estate. It is March the 28th and Australia's housing supply challenge is still intensifying, with construction costs surging due to fuel and material price spikes. This is putting pressure on builders and threatening project delays or, in fact, cancellations at the moment. The bigger issue is it's becoming harder to deliver enough homes to meet the demand. And if you are working in the construction industry, how is that affecting you right now? How much are you at risk? We'd love to hear from you. You can send us a voice message below or email us myrealestatepodcast@gmail.com. Let's go to the Fraser coast and in particular to Hervey Bay, and we're catching up with Scott Mitchell from Mitchell's Realty. Welcome back to the Real Estate Breakfast on this weekend around Australia. I've got to say, we were just having a conversation off air. I did not know that you were into hip hop. Most people wouldn't, and so much so that you went to a concert last week.
Yeah, I did actually, and you are right. The client said, who? When I said I went down to see Wu-Tang Clan. You can't always judge everyone by their age and their appearance sometimes, and I do listen to a diverse range of music. Hip-hop is one of my favourite styles of music, and we just had the opportunity to see Wu-Tang Clan. Our local boys, Bliss and Esso, actually got to open for them, which was a childhood dream for them, like a wish come true for Bliss and Esso, and they stated that. And it was a wonderful night. They were really, really cool.
You learn something about people every day, and who knew that Scott Mitchell was into hip-hop? Okay, let's have a look at the numbers coming out of your region. The median house price across the Fraser coast, wow, look at that. It is now around $735,000. That is up 12.7% over the past year. Solid growth. It just keeps on building, doesn't it?
We did just recently have a presentation from the Fraser Coast Property Industry Association, which we're a member of, and Glenn Winnie presented that for our Chamber of Commerce, and that's where these results came from. And I thought, we should touch base on that because this is factual, solid, accurate information, and it just reaffirms really what we have been discussing for a while now, that our market's still super robust, and moving forward, our buyer activity is still been really strong.
Yeah, I remember that when you and I first started talking, you could buy a 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom for around that $480,000, and we are now at that $735,000 mark. On the rental side, supply is still incredibly tight. Vacancy rates are sitting at around 1.3% across the Fraser coast, with Hervey Bay even tighter at the moment.
I think we have snuck up to around that 1% mark, but we've been holding under 0.8, 0.9% vacancy rate for more than a year. I think that has crept up to about 1% at the minute, maybe 1.2. And that'll be coming off the back of a lot of these new spec builds that have been going up, have been going to investors. So we've had probably a slight, and it would be slight, but a slight increase in stock supply for those looking to rent. But you can clearly see that we're still, we're undersupplied overall. Like, it's hard to get a rental. It comes back to that supply and demand. So we need more homes, and that's what's underpinning this whole market.
Yeah, and the population growth is really driving your story at the moment. The Fraser Coast is now sitting at just over 120,000 people, with more than half living in the Hervey Bay region itself. Growth has doubled compared to the previous decade, and that is largely off the back of migration trends since COVID. I mean, that has been such a big talking point for the Fraser Coast region, as we have spoken about year on year, just the way that the population is growing.
Yeah, that's certainly right. It's I think specifically now for Hervey Bay, we're sitting around 65,000 population. In the time frame, me and Katrina, we moved here in 2006. I recall it sitting somewhere around 50,000. So we've seen a significant increase in that time frame. Even infrastructure, like when we moved to Hervey Bay in 2006, there was one set of traffic lights in front of what is now Dan Murphy's. Back then it was a drive-through tavern. It is crazy to look at how quickly really Hervey Bay has grown, but as we've said in the past, we've been a bit of a hidden gem. We were undiscovered for a long time, and whilst it's great to reflect on these figures now, and now we've got the infrastructure coming through with employment opportunities that are going to consistently drive this market going forward.
Yeah, and we'll have a look at the numbers around the job market in just a moment. We haven't spoken for a couple of months. How busy have you been in those last 2 months? And how many people have been coming in, probably off the back of, the Christmas, New Year period, still flying in on those flights for a weekend away? Has that been a factor in the last 2 months?
Those Melbourne flights, we're up to 4 flights a week coming out of Melbourne now. And then you've got daily flights into Sydney. But the market has been strong. It's been probably a little bit more price pointed for us. So our homes that we're listing, say, around the 800,000 mark, even in the last week, we've had 3 homes that we listed all at offers from 800. We expected it was easy to justify buyer interest in the high sevens, we'll call it. Every one of those properties, as soon as we launched them onto the market, attracted very strong interest, like more than a dozen viewings within 24 hours. We went to multiple offers, up to 5 multiple offers, and every one of those properties has gone well in excess of the start price of 800,000. So the demand in that price point is really high, and that's a reflection on the average medium sale price. Even to start now is 735 grand. It was. We were talking about this last year that you could buy a spec build back then for maybe 650, 675. Not now. Now we're in the sevens.
It has definitely changed. Scott is with me on the Saturday Property Show. Coming up next, yes, as I mentioned, we'll have a look at the Fraser Coast job market after this.
Every morning from 6 a.m, we bring you the latest real estate news with diverse perspectives from leading industry experts. We deliver the most property podcasts across Australia every week.
And the property market, it can be incredibly competitive with bidding wars and auctions adding to the pressure. And some people, they can just crumble during the buying process because of that unrelenting and at times competitive process. So that's really one for people to work on.
Absolutely. And look, it's very difficult to plan, but I think sometimes planning for that particular auction or that particular negotiating process can help. Getting really clear on what your limit is, getting really clear on what you would do in certain situations, and really sticking to that plan. I guess where it's become really tricky lately is a lot of these prices, I guess they defy expectations, and it just seems to be one of these things that is constantly moving and constantly adjusting. But I think having a good solid plan and then just trying to really manage your emotions during that would be great. There's some tools you can use to manage anxiety, even simple ones. Simple breathing tools would be quite helpful, and just having maybe somebody there with you who's, I guess, not too invested in it, who can just talk you down and just make sure that you stay on track with what your plan is. And it's when you start going off the script and off plan that things can start getting a bit anxious, when the anxiety can start.
From the emotion of property, the economic inflation, managing your expectations, lack of stock, price growth, construction appetite, days on the market. Stay informed with us and know your property. You're listening to the Saturday Property Market Update.
It is a Real Estate Saturday. If you're getting busy to head out the door later on this morning and go and have a look at some of those open homes, maybe today is the day you find that dream home. I know that many people are looking for those forever homes, so good luck whatever the case may be. It is a Real Estate Saturday. today. Scott Mitchell from Mitchell's Realty is with me. We're talking about the region of the Fraser Coast that is gaining this momentum and now supports over 44,000 jobs, with healthcare and construction leading the way. It's a $6 billion economy that's steadily shifting towards service industries. I mean, how big is your smile at the moment, Scott?
It's easy to forget the decade before COVID where we had like negative growth and it was a tough market to work in, trust me. Yeah, this is great to see Hervey Bay plough. I won't say pushing, it's like ploughing forward. The amount of infrastructure and construction that is going on, you've just got to drive around. There's a new subdivision going in on every second corner. It used to be cane fields is being developed in the new housing estates, but we need this infrastructure and construction to continue to supply the demand for the homes that are coming into our region. You just need to look at the amount of infrastructure that our local council is supplying to continue to feed this demand. The market in Hervey Bay is looking fantastic.
Yes, you're talking about the supply around the housing. The Fraser Coast needs around 860 new homes every year to just keep up with the demand. And with the population forecast to grow by more than 30,000 people by 2046, that challenge is going to be there, delivering enough housing to match the growth. No question that is what everybody is looking at. I just want to stay with construction activity, which has been strong because it has been peaking at over $1 billion recently, sitting around $500 million this financial year so far. So that is reflecting confidence, but also just really does highlight what you're talking about, that scale of demand.
You look at the people are moving to the area because it's a beautiful area, and whilst we're saying that our values have crept up to now, we'll say an average medium sale price of $735, compare our pricing to areas south of us, and we are still really affordable, and you get to live in an area which has got beautiful natural assets, there's no question. And we're coming into the best time of the year. We are normally not significantly weather affected. Like you can look at some of the weather events that have been going on north and south of us. Whilst we do get some extreme weather, Hervey Bay's got a pretty temperate, stable climate as well, and we are coming into the best time of the year for us. You've got to think about all the people that are now supplying the services, like even the construction workers. So we need such a significant increase in our tradies, but where do the tradies live? And then, or if they can't purchase straight away, where would they rent? So you've got to be able to supply the accommodation to drive all that employment that we need to continue to see the region going forward.
Yes, and I can hear the investors, their brains are on a loop at the moment, as you say, more and more of the tradespeople, more of the building going on. Where are they going to live? The investors are thinking, yes, this is a region that is developing, got to get into the Fraser Coast. Enjoy your weekend, Scott. Talk again soon.
Will do, Craig. I'll leave on a line from a well-known song last night. It was called Show Me the Money, Dollar Dollar Bill, y'all.
Explore new property destinations where you could live with exclusive interviews covering real estate news and market insights.
Some of them move quickly, others take a more measured approach. What is your take on how the banking providers around Australia are responding to the moment?
Yeah, well, essentially over the past week, lenders have been passing on the full 25 percentage point increase to borrowers. And obviously just touching on what's happening with petrol prices, there's a lot of households that are really managing cash flow squeeze at the moment.
It does come down to those two main options that I mentioned, to fix or to use the variable rate. Each does have its place depending on timing and risk appetite, because you've got to have either one of those.
Yeah, it's incredible how quick this has shifted. It was probably 3 to 6 months ago we had fixed rates under 5%. We're now getting most fixed rates over 6%. There's some 1 year fixed rates that are still under 6%, but generally speaking now the 2, 3, 4, 5 year fixed rates are now over 6%.
We connect you to the best real estate information across Australia. The Real Estate Podcast.